Well, good morning, everyone. Mackie here. Now, we're going to get to all of this later on and find out the reasons. But Marcus Rashford, who is a former Man United player and now a Barcelona loanee, turns out to be probably a Barcelona player at some point in the future, have some, let's just call it choice words to say about Man United's current state right now. I'm going to read this from the Sky Sports, YouTube channel, of course. It said that at times I feel United have just been hungry to win, so will always try to adapt. Sign players who fit the system, but it's reactionary. If your direction is always changing, you can't expect to win the league. He went on to say, people said we've been in a transition for years. To be in a transition, you have to start the transition. The actual transition's not started yet. When Liverpool went through this, they got Klopp. They stuck with him. We'll get to Klopp later. They didn't win at the beginning. People only remember the final few years when he was competing with City. To start a transition, you have to make a plan and stick to it. I feel like we've had that many different managers, different ideas, and different strategies in order to win. You end up in the middle of no man's land. And by the way, he did it in a podcast called The Rest is Football. Now you're asking to yourself, does he have a point? I'm not going to speak on behalf of Marcus Rashford or the players or anything else, but lo and behold, the stats are going to tell me a different story. And it is grim. It is absolutely grim. So, let's just break it down and see if Marcus Rashford is right. Then again, I think everybody in United fans, sane people, just saying he's probably right. So let's just go through it. So let's go to 2013-14, which is pretty much the first season post Alex Ferguson, which is probably the most significant consider the circumstances where we are right now. So let's just go through it. United finished at 64 points, which was at the time the worst in points in points and position in United's history and the Premier League champions at the time. They went with David Moyes and Brendan and Ryan Giggs. Meanwhile, Liverpool finished second. Well, let's just call it a close second with Brendan Rodgers. I believe that was the time when Liverpool were close to winning the title, and then it was the famous Gerrard slip, of course, that everybody heard around the world. I don't know if it's that one, but leave that in the comments if it's pretty much true. Then you got 14-15 with Louis van Gaal in the charge. They finished 7th with 70 points with 4th place. And then Liverpool would finish in 6th with 62 points. That was when Liverpool actually crashed out after that incredible title run. Then, of course, 15-16, 66 points for 5th. And then Liverpool finished in 8th with 60 points. That was when Brendan Rodgers decided to step down or sacked in most cases. And then they decided to transition themselves to the Jurgen Klopp. This is where I think Marcus Rashford's point come to mind, in which the transition is important. Then you get to 16-17, which Man United finished 6th, 69 points, and the Liverpool in their first season on your club finished 4th, 76 points. Not much, but winning. But as Roger said, patience is important, and planning and strategize, and a lot of transfers being taken place. Then you come to 17-18. That was when Mourinho's first season. That was when after Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup against Crystal Palace, and it didn't matter because they're bad. They sacked him and put in Jose Mourinho. 81 points in his first season. Now, you got to have to keep this in mind, guys. That is Man United's highest points total since Sir Alex Ferguson has been released or been stepped down. That's right. 81 points is the highest that Man United have got since Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down. And just be honest, we are nowhere close to 70 at this point. But we'll continue. Jose Mourinho finished 81 points and pretty much a distant second to the dominant Manchester City 100-point team at that time. Then you got Liverpool finishing in fourth with 75 points under Jurgen Klopp, but again a little better. Then you got United finishing sixth, literally the same position as the LVG era come to the end. And then, of course, Mourinho got sacked. Say a lot of things. Ego being tested as Mourinho being there. And then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes in. Let's just be honest. It was not my good time. I have some decent times there. 66 points and finished sixth. Pretty bad numbers. Liverpool finished 97 points to a really good Manchester City team at that time. It was the back and forth Manchester City Pep Guardiola era that was so much fun, to be honest. They finished second on 97 points. Then came the COVID year 2019-20 when they finished same amount of points, but third place on the Solskjaer. Yes, 66 points last season under Mourinho and into Solskjaer will give you 6 points. That season, 66 points, and third place will give you like third. Different context, I guess. Liverpool finished with 99 points and a first place. Of course, when they finally won their first Premier League title in 30 years. COVID, yes, but they got the job done, and Klopp was the engineer to that. Then, of course, Liverpool fell off the cliff, of course. They didn't manage to finish third in that season and 69 points. Not as big, but sure. Then, of course, United finished 74 points, which is better than Liverpool, and finished second. So, fine. Top three finishes in the last 2 seasons. That's okay. And then we are going back down to sixth. 58 points. We went from 81 points to 66 points to 74 points, which is fine, to 58. Oh my god. And then we got Solskjaer, which was okay-ish, and then he's gone after the Watford defeat. Dan Carrick, Dan Rangnick, trying to become the surgeon, of course, in that team. Then Liverpool finished with 92 points and finished in second place, which is probably, again, to a good Manchester City team, and they finished second. Then 2022, 2023, you got let me just insert this. There you go. You got Everton coming in and finishing third with 75 points, which is fine. Then Liverpool with just 67 points and finished fifth. And then 2023, 2024, 60 points, 8th place. Ten Hag got not so decent results, of course, if I remember. Liverpool finished 82 points. That was when Klopp decided to resign and no longer become the coach of Liverpool. And then this year, sadly this year, we went from 75 points, 60 points, to a crappy, ungodfully 42 points. Easily the worst in Man United's history. Easily the worst in any history since the relegation years of 74. And they got from Eric Tenan to Ruud van Nistelrooy for a short minute, and then Amrin, which is now the current manager. Meanwhile, Liverpool finished 84 points and win the title under Slot in year one of his managerial career with Liverpool. So, if you put in the totals and averages in all of them since that season, and it's incredibly dark. Liverpool have 947 points, which is good, which is an average of 79 points. And the average position is third. 79 points would have put them second place in last season's Premier League table, ahead of Arsenal, behind the Liverpool team that won last year. And they averaged the entire run third place overall. And in case everybody wanted to know the managers, they have gone through 3 managers since that period. They've gone through Brendan Rodgers and then transitioned into, the Klopp era. And then, of course, Klopp stepped down and then gone on a Slot, which is now the current manager of this team. And oh, by the way, he's a Premier League champion. So there you go. United have finished with 791 points and 66 is the average, and they were 6th. Let's just put it into context where we are last season. 66 points would have been in the Aston Villa Newcastle range. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Hakeem, okay, Aston Villa Newcastle range, that's fine. In 2002, 63 points in 2002 would have got you UEFA Cup standards. This is literally the ball that Man United has sent in. The Aston Villa Newcastle range, which is to say that Aston Villa Newcastle are pretty decent right now. This is nowhere close, to be honest. And their average positions throughout this time is 6th. And Amrin has now become, let's just count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different manager. He is the 6th different Man United manager to start this season. And that is stark. Because let's just put it in context, Pep Guardiola has lasted longer with one team than Man United have. Frank Thomas, who, by the way, is now the Tottenham manager, have lasted longer with Brentford than United have with different managers. You can go to, almost close to every single team. Unai Emery has been there longer. There are so many managers that have been to one club longer than Man United has. And I cannot believe I'm going to say these words. But Marcus Rashford is absolutely right. They are in no man's land. And right now, I just don't know if we're ever going to get back to no man's land. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to like 80 points. I don't know, 70 points. If they managed to make 70 points and finish in Europa League, that's a pretty good season, even in my book. But I'm not sure if we ever get there. And the stark contracts between these two clubs is just so night and day. You got a team that is established, that is built in the right way, that has have a good system, that has a good football. Meanwhile, we are just having different managers, different systems, different players, different attitudes, different everywhere. And I'm gonna be brutally honest. I don't even remember one good Man United performance from last season. Do you? Do you remember a good performance from Man United last season? I don't. I just honestly don't. I can remember Liverpool having decent, good games most of the time, and their losses are kind of like not as horrible losses. Even like the loss to Paris Saint-Germain, that was more like Paris Saint-Germain improving themselves in those two legs. I don't see any good performance in United last season to make you feel like I have hope. And maybe that's just me, but it's like after last season, I was just trying to give up on Man United completely. After this season, I would not blame myself if I would give up on Man United and just like support a different club. Let's just say Wrexham or something. I would. I would. But I have no other choice. I have no other choice. If I were to support a different club and go to a different team and win a lot, it will not even feel the same. It will not even have that same feeling, of course. So, yeah, I have to ride the ship. And if I have to ride the ship, I have to go down with it as well. So hopefully fortunes will change. But at the current moment and the points and the speaking of some former United players, it's bad. It's really bad. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. It's a little bit of short video content about, the Premier League and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do another one before the season's done. Who knows? But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and do all that jazz, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.